Imagine holding in your hands a piece of history so ancient, so profound, that it reveals how people thousands of years ago pictured the entire world. It's not a grand painting or a towering statue, but a small, humble piece of clay. Yet this tiny object carries secrets that have puzzled scholars for centuries and continues to captivate anyone who hears its story. Welcome to a journey through time, where we uncover the mysteries of the oldest map ever discovered, right here at the British Museum. And I'm a curator in the Middle East department. I'm thrilled to take you into my corner today to share something truly extraordinary. Let's dive straight into the heart of this story. What I have here in front of me is not just any piece of clay. It's a replica of an ancient clay tablet, and I must explain why it's a replica. The original is far too delicate and precious to be handled casually or waved around on camera. It's on permanent display at the museum, and we must protect it at all costs. So for the sake of showing you every fascinating detail, we'll use this exact copy. Trust me, it still tells the same incredible tale. This tablet comes from the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, a region that includes modern-day Iraq. Back then, the people, Sumerians, Babylonians, and others, didn't write on paper. They used clay as their canvas, pressing their words into it with sharp tools. These clay tablets are remarkably tough in many ways. You can hold them, study them, and they often survive for millennia. Of course, you wouldn't want to play a game of soccer with one, but they're durable enough to last through the ages. However, time hasn't always been kind. Wars, fires, collapsing buildings, and the trampling feet of countless generations have taken their toll. When archaeologists unearth these tablets, they're rarely in perfect condition. This one, for instance, is missing pieces here and there. It looks as though it's been stepped on or worn down over time, with many of the markings damaged or faded. Yet, despite its battered appearance, what remains is nothing short of astonishing. This, my friends, is the oldest map of the world ever found. Let's take a closer look at this remarkable object. It has two sides, which we call the obverse and the reverse. The backside, or reverse, is packed with lines of cuneiform writing, the wedge-shaped script of ancient Mesopotamia. These lines are divided into different sections full of information, even though parts are broken or missing. But it's the front side, the obverse, that steals the show. At the top, there are a few strong lines of cuneiform text, carefully ruled across the clay. These lines talk about the early creation of the world, describing how animals were placed in the seas and across different parts of the universe. It's a brief summary of creation, almost like a snapshot of ancient beliefs. However, this text is clearly separated from what lies below it, and it's that lower part that grabs your attention. If you look closely at the flat surface of the clay, you'll notice a double circle etched into it. This isn't just a random drawing. The double ring is labeled in cuneiform as the Bitter River, a body of water that the Babylonians believed surrounded the known world. Inside this double ring is a depiction of ancient Mesopotamia itself, the land between two great rivers, which is where the name Mesopotamia comes from, a Greek word meaning between rivers. Today, this area is part of modern Iraq. Within this circular drawing, there are fascinating details. There's a great river running from north to south, which represents the Euphrates River, a lifeline for the people of that time. Straddling this river is a long, oblong shape, clearly meant to be the city of Babylon, a central hub of their civilization. This ring of water was incredibly significant to the Babylonians. Around the 6th century before Christ, they saw it as the boundary of their world, the edge of what they knew. The rivers, like the Euphrates, brought life, food, and transport routes all the way down to the Persian Gulf, over a distance of hundreds of kilometers. Inside this circle on the map, you'll also see smaller rings or marks, each with tiny bits of cuneiform writing. These labels tell us the names of cities or sometimes tribes, encapsulating the entire known world where people lived, thrived, and passed on. It's a snapshot of their reality, drawn on a piece of clay no bigger than your hand. But there's more to this map than just the familiar world inside the circle. If you look at the outer ring of the Bitter River, you'll notice triangles sticking out at different angles. Some people have guessed these might represent islands or districts, but most likely, they are mountains. The idea is that if you crossed this surrounding water, you'd see jagged, pointed shapes on the horizon, remote lands far beyond the limits of the known world. For the Babylonians, these distant places were full of magic and mystery, realms of the unknown stretching out in every direction from the edge of their existence. When you study the design, it becomes clear there were originally 8 of these triangles. We know this partly from logical deduction and partly from the writing on the reverse side of the tablet, which describes what each triangle represents. There's a place where the sun is never seen, a tree that bears jewels instead of fruit, and even giant birds that can't fly. Each triangle is tied to traditional stories, myths, and wonders, recorded alongside the map to show where these magical places were believed to be. Of course, it's unlikely anyone ever traveled to these far-off lands. We're talking about an imaginative world here, one shaped by cosmology, theology, and ancient traditions passed down through generations. For a long time, though, we faced a frustrating puzzle. We didn't know which description on the back matched which triangle on the front. We knew there were supposed to be 8 triangles, but far fewer were visible due to the damage. Only a few could be read clearly, and matching them to the descriptions on the reverse side seemed impossible. That is, until something incredible happened. Let me take you back to how this mystery began to unravel. In the 19th century, when archaeologists first excavated tablets like this, they were meticulous. They brought back every piece they could find, from large chunks of clay to the tiniest fragments. Even the smallest bits with writing on them were carefully collected. Sometimes, these fragments couldn't be matched to anything right away, so they were stored in special trays at the British Museum, waiting for the day when someone might figure out where they belonged. And that day came thanks to an extraordinary woman named Edith Horsley. Edith was passionate about cuneiform writing. She attended classes I used to teach after work, once a week, to learn about this ancient script. She was enthusiastic, attentive, and a wonderful student. When the classes ended after several months, Edith wasn't ready to stop. She wanted to do more. As a volunteer at the British Museum, she came in just once a week, tasked with sorting through boxes of tablet fragments. Her job was to look for anything with a geographical or astronomical image on it. One day, while sifting through these trays, she spotted a small piece of clay with a triangle on it and some cuneiform signs inside. She thought it might be part of a map, so she set it aside in a special section for pieces of particular interest. After all, I couldn't possibly go through every single tray myself. When I saw the little pile of fragments Edith had set aside, about half a dozen pieces that stood out, I went through them one by one. She pointed out this particular piece with lines on it, and the moment I saw it, I knew it had to belong to our famous map tablet. This map is such a unique object that there was no mistaking it. The funny thing is, the original tablet wasn't even in its usual storage place at the time. It was downstairs on exhibition, so I pulled out an old photograph of the map to compare, but the photo was at a different scale, and I couldn't quite see where the fragment fit. It wasn't until the next morning, when I took the fragment down to the exhibition area where the original tablet is on public view, that everything clicked. Looking at the real tablet, I could see instantly that the fragment slotted perfectly into a missing section. It was a snug fit. So snug, in fact, that when I placed it in the hole right there in the gallery with Edith watching, we couldn't get it out again afterward. It had to be sent to our conservation team to be properly secured and glued into place. We were over the moon. We even opened a bottle of bubbly and celebrated right there in the gallery. But after the excitement settled, we had to think seriously about what this discovery meant. This tablet is incredibly famous. It's often featured in encyclopedias, history books, and studies about ancient maps and ideas. To find a missing piece and make a join like this was nothing short of extraordinary. Then came the question, what new information did this fragment reveal? On this newly found triangle, there was a cuneiform inscription along one of its diagonals that read, "The Great Wall." Let me share with you what the ancient scribe wrote about this particular place. The text says, "To the fifth, which you must travel 7 leagues. A league is an old measure of distance, roughly a few kilometers, meaning you'd have to row across the Bitter River for quite a stretch before reaching the foot of this mountain called the Great Wall. The scribe describes its height as 840 cubits, about 420 meters tall. The trees on this mountain reach up to 120 cubits, or around 60 meters. The text goes on to say, by day you can't see in front of yourself. By night, lying on, and then it breaks off, damaged as always. It continues with instructions to travel another 7 leagues through sand, but again, the text is incomplete. These gaps are frustrating, but what matters is that we now know which triangle matches the description of this enormous wall. All thanks to Edith's discovery. This find was a game changer. With 3 triangles now identified in a row, we had a much better chance of matching them to the descriptions on the back of the tablet. Before, with isolated triangles, it was nearly impossible to pair them reliably with the right stories. But 3 in a sequence gave us a clear starting point. We realized the counting of the triangles went counterclockwise, not clockwise, which helped us align the descriptions. For example, the text for the 4th triangle reads, "To the 4th, to which you must travel 7 leagues. It's like a fairy tale with a familiar opening each time. You always cross the water for 7 leagues. Then the text gets a bit broken, but it mentions something as thick as a parsec-2 vessel. Now that term might not mean much to you, but to someone who studies ancient texts, it's a thrilling clue. This word, parsec-2, is incredibly rare, appearing only once elsewhere in cuneiform records. That other mention is in a tablet describing the Babylonian version of Noah's Ark, dated to around 1800 before Christ. In that story, a god gives instructions to build the ark, and the Babylonian Noah confirms he made certain structures, as thick as a parsec-2 vessel. So, this obscure word links directly to the Ark story, connecting it undeniably to this map. What does this mean in plain terms? If you were to journey up this mountain described on the map, taking breaks to catch your breath and enjoy a sandwich or two, you'd eventually see something incredible against the night sky or the dark outer universe. Silhouetted on the peak would be the ribs of a massive wooden structure, as thick as a parsec-2 vessel, the remnants of the Babylonian Ark. Just like in the Bible, where Noah's Ark came to rest on a mountain, this Babylonian version landed here in a mythical, distant land. If you descended the mountain and crossed back over the Bitter River to the homeland, the first place you'd reach is called Uru, which is marked on the map. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. In the Bible, Noah's Ark lands on Mount Ararat, and Ararat is the Hebrew equivalent of the Assyrian Uru. This connection shows that the core of the story was shared across cultures, with one influencing the other. For the Babylonians, this wasn't just a myth. It was a matter of fact. They believed that if you made this journey, you'd see the remains of the boat that saved all life on Earth, preserving it for future generations, including us today. So, what does this ancient map mean for us now? Let's imagine we could hop into a time machine and travel back to ancient Mesopotamia. I've always thought that would be a fantastic adventure. We could go as a group, have a grand party, and when we arrive, someone might ask, "Does anyone know where the Ark is?" We'd pull out this map and say, "Here it is. It's right there." We'd grab a rowing boat, set off across the Bitter River, and see it for ourselves. Now, I'm not saying this map would help you navigate modern Iraq in a car today, but when it comes to exploring beyond the known world, into the realm of imagination and ancient belief, is absolutely invaluable. For the first time, we can say with confidence that if we were ancient Babylonians, we'd know exactly where to go to find the remains of that legendary boat. But who created this map? Often, cuneiform tablets include a note at the bottom of the reverse side with the scribe's name, a sort of signature called a colophon. Unfortunately, on this tablet, the scribe's name is broken off and lost to time. However, we do have the name of his father. In Babylonia, they always identified someone as so-and-so, son of so, son of so. The father's name here is Itsu, which means bird in Babylonian. That's quite curious because names in Mesopotamia usually had clear meanings, like servant of a certain god or she is beautiful beyond compare. No one else in the records is simply named Bird. It's an unusual name, not exactly flattering. So, what could it mean? When you look at this map in the museum display case, and I hope you'll visit to see it for yourself, you might think, oh, I get it. It's a bird's eye view of the world, and I believe that's exactly right. This map, drawn by someone from a family tied to the word bird, offers a bird's eye perspective of the known world and the mysteries beyond. That gives it a special kind of charm and warmth. In many ways, the map's shortcomings as a precise geographical tool don't matter. That wasn't the point for the Babylonians. They weren't trying to create a modern atlas. Instead, this tablet gives us a deep insight into how they thought about their world, their beliefs, and their imagination. It's also a powerful reminder of what can happen when a tiny, seemingly unimportant fragment of clay, something that looks boring and useless on its own, is matched to a larger piece in our collection. Suddenly, a whole new story unfolds, and the adventure begins again. Buildings made of bricks are nothing unusual, right? But here's the twist. These bricks were made 1,500 years apart, yet they were used in the same structure. Even crazier, Sebastian excavated both bricks himself. One of them, believe it or not, had been excavated twice before, and the first time was 2,300 years ago. Archaeology is full of surprises, and I can't wait for you to join us on the next leg of this journey.